So the term starving artist is not necessarily an uncommon term to hear. In fact, a lot of artists these days practically expect that they're not going to be making a living out of their art, no matter how many commissions they take on, no matter what projects they're a part of. Even a lot of artists working for big name companies aren't exactly making it. And even more so now, with the introduction of AI art completely oversaturating social media, it's harder for artists to actually get noticed online. So this leads to artists looking for other avenues of how they can make money from doing what they love. This was part of the concept with NFTs. When artists were trying to go down that avenue, there's obviously, the avenue of comics, merchandise, and the avenue that is the main topic of this video, not safe for work material. Yes, that's right, folks. We're talking about, should artists turn to making porn? Now, I know there's going to be a lot of comments down below talking about the ethics of whether or not artists should turn to making porn. But that's not exactly what this video is about. That's not really my intention to talk about that whole complicated stuff. I want to talk about whether or not it is beneficial for artists to start making porn. Whether it actually gets them the money and recognition that they need, or if it actually harms their career and prevents them from getting, ultimately, success. Because I've often commented on how a lot of artists will turn to doing porn, especially for their Patreon. They'll, lock their porn behind a paywall, so once they're getting an audience, where the real money comes in is when the audience is very horny and want to see some nipple. This is something that I see a lot of, and especially now I notice a lot of new artists who haven't really polished up their art style yet, immediately turning to doing porn just to get noticed. Practically only drawing nude drawings for most of their social media, which seems like such a big leap to take in that direction. Now, while I don't exactly have a big porn reputation under my belt, I can to some degree relate this to my own comic career. Now, when the big comic crowdfunding boom was first happening, I knew that I wanted to get in on that. And there were a couple of ideas that I was tossing back and forth on what I could do, but the one that I ended up crowdfunding for was a comic called Orgasm Girl, which is, as I've said before, not actually porn, but yeah, it does sell itself on the idea that it's going to be this saucy, sexy comic. And I am willing to bet there were a lot of people who purchased the comic believing that there was nudity in it at the very least. They were probably disappointed. However, as I've mentioned in another video, I do regret that that was my first comic project, because it laid out the groundwork for what people would be expecting from me from then on. And that comic was not at all representative of the type of comics that I actually wanted to write. If anything, it was one of the most experimental comics that I had done at the time. I wanted to play around with doing my own fan service-y comic, and that's essentially what that was. However, for a lot of people, that was the first thing that they ever read of mine. And then when I started doing more serious comics, or when I started doing less saucy comics, the audience that I had cultivated from Orgasm Girl did not translate to the rest of those comics. Even more so, the audience that I could have had was probably scared away by just seeing the mere title of the first comic campaign that I did. And that's even more sales that I probably lost. And I don't want to act like I didn't see any financial success from that comic. It's probably still the best-selling out of every comic that I have done, but I think it would have been ultimately more beneficial for me if I had done my first comic campaign with something that felt a little bit more in line with the stories that I actually wanted to tell for the rest of my life. So I do think you can receive a lot of financial success just by turning to porn. Obviously, people are going to react to stimulating kind of material. It's very addictive for a lot of people out there. It's part of the reason why there's so much fan service in manga. It's because, you know, they're trying to keep the audience's attention. Especially within like the first chapters of manga, you'll very often see a bunch of fan service just crammed in there, and then later on it mellows out. It's all because they're trying to get the audience's attention real quick and get them to keep on looking at the next chapter. It absolutely works for getting someone's attention, but what happens when you don't want to do that anymore? And I think that is the main crux of the problem. I've seen a lot of art accounts that I have followed over the years all of a sudden start posting exclusively porn, and once they start posting not safe for work material, they never go back. You never see them go back to their original material. That's all that they can do from now on once they make that decision. Because, like I said, once you start posting just like normal stuff that is not trying to be sexualized, well, all of a sudden your likes just disappear. All of a sudden you're not getting that attention. People will even start unfollowing you because they only followed you for the porn and they're not interested in stuff that you're actually passionate about. They just want them titties. And sometimes that's just how it goes. So I see a lot of different artists all of a sudden just posting not even just nipples, like we go full on foot fetish, pee fetish, furries. Shit gets really weird on my timeline to the point where I'm like, who even are you? I don't even know who you are anymore. All I know is at one point I was following you because I was interested in the art that you were originally producing. Now you're producing something completely different. I'm not interested in you anymore. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want to see this on my timeline. Unfollow. And I've straight up posted on Twitter before that if you change your account so that it becomes an exclusively porn account and that's all you're posting, I'm not gonna follow you anymore because that's not why I'm not following any porn accounts intentionally. It's not something that I'm interested in seeing when I open up the Twitter app. There's still one story of this guy I used to follow that kind of haunts me to this day, just because it's such a bizarre change of character for this one particular person. And at one point I wanted to actually hire them to do art for Horizon Quest. This was before I had officially announced that we were doing the Horizon Quest comic. I was following this guy. He had pretty cute art. It was kind of Disney-esque, right? One day, out of the blue, you know, Zootopia, it's a popular movie, right? Post some Zootopia fan art of like an OC. Overall, pretty harmless, not sexualized in any way. But unfortunately, it pops off. It gets super popular. And it's just something that he did, you know, just on a whim. Just out of nowhere, just because. If he liked the movie, he wanted to draw a little cute OC, whatever. That's when the furries started to follow him. They commissioned stuff. Oh boy, they commissioned stuff. He posted it. Not even kidding. He ends up cultivating a huge furry following that are just giving him so much money in commissions. All of a sudden, all of his work is furry work that he's posting. And all of a sudden, it's sexualized. It wasn't sexualized before, but now it is. And he's getting all these likes and validations, and all of a sudden, he is not a he anymore. Now that account identifies as a trans furry tiger. That was fast. What a really quick escalation that took, huh? Anyway, I don't like seeing furry porn, so I'm not gonna follow that account. I never once again saw the Disney-like cutesy art that I enjoyed from that person. It was gone. Gone forever. In the past. And replaced with furry porn. And I don't think that most artists, when they get into art, are super passionate about drawing specifically porn. I think most artists out there have ambitions for something greater, but if you are passionate about drawing saucy, not safe for work type stuff, and if you genuinely feel like you could only draw that for the rest of your life and be happy, then absolutely go for it. I would say, sure, you should be drawing not safe for work artwork online. You should be taking those commissions, open up your Patreon, do all that stuff. It's just that most people I know who are artists who have turned to the porn side don't actually want to do that. But they're doing it anyway because of purely the financial benefit. And sure, maybe there is financial benefit to it, but what if it hurts your account instead of helps your account? What if you make really cringe porn and from then on, that's the only thing that people recognize you for the rest of your life? I mean, people still dunk on Rebecca Sugar for that Ed, Edd and Eddy porn. I think at the very least what most people should do is probably create 2 separate accounts. Have one be your main account that you mostly post from, and the other you can do your anonymous porn account if you really needed that money real bad. But I think ultimately when you're building up an audience and building up a social media, you should build it based on what you're passionate about, and not what you think you will see the most financial benefit for. I mean, isn't the whole reason why we're doing art because we're passionate about it? If you just wanted to do something for strictly the financial benefit, wouldn't you have picked a different career? If you don't enjoy doing porn, then by all means, don't do it. That's my personal take on that anyways. And I do kind of wonder how sought after porn actually is. I mean, it is a very disposable type of product, because not a lot of people read the same porno over and over and over again. Usually people read and dump and then look for the next thing. But it does also feel like in modern media, you can find softcore porn just about anywhere. I mean, you see it all the time on Netflix, you see it on Webtoon, you see it in those DC comics that I dreadfully read, and you most certainly see it in a lot of manga. There's a lot of fan service. So you do kind of have to wonder if, everything is kind of saturated with sexuality, does your stuff even stand out amongst everything else? Doing something that you're not passionate about and then not getting any success from is just an extra knife to the heart. You basically have to nuke your account and start all over again. But I digress. Let me know your own thoughts on this kind of complicated topic down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. Like the video if you did enjoy, subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me, and do check out the Sonic City Witch campaign. We are accepting pre-orders as well on the main website, burningstarcomics.net. It is not porn, but it is an exciting comic. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Program restart.